How many of us are getting the sort of recommended daily allowance of sleep? How would you redesign society to help us to sleep better? Why do we sleep?
Matthew Walker,
neuroscientist and best-selling author,
and one of the world's leading researchers in sleep science.
It's going to blow your mind.
Prototypical recommendation is that after about 30 minutes of time awake, you should get out of your bed and you should just go to a different room and do something like, read a book or listen to a podcast. Don't eat because it then trains your brain to wake up. Don't stop working or getting in front of a computer screen, but you can do relaxing things, stretch. The reason is because if you start to spend a lot of time awake in your bed, your brain is an incredibly associative device. And very quickly, it will start to learn that this thing called your bed is this place where I'm always awake. And therefore, you start to learn through this repeated loop of behavior that I'm always going to be wide awake in bed. And we need to break that association. And that's why we say get out of bed after about 30 minutes, because you're just training your brain to think that this thing called my bed is the place where I'm never asleep. And we want to break that and only return to bed when you're sleepy. And there's no time limit for that. And that way, gradually, it's much better because you will relearn the association that your bed, just as when you were young, it was guaranteed that your bed is this place where you will always be asleep. The problem with that is many people don't want, it's the middle of the night, it's dark, it's cold. I'm just not going to get out of bed. At that point, I would say, okay, that's reasonable. The first thing I would suggest is meditation. I am a hard-nosed scientist. And when I was researching that book, I couldn't get away from the strength of the data. It was immensely powerful regarding sleep and its benefits on insomnia and sleep. So I started meditating. And now I meditate for 10 minutes before bed every single night. And I've been doing that for about 4 years. So I would say, even if it's in the middle of the night, and if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll start to try to walk myself through a meditation. What's fundamentally going on here with meditation is harks back to when we were kids. For many parents, they would just read a book to their kid, children's books, goodnight books, because you would read the child to sleep. And for some reason, as we developed into adults, we thought, well, we no longer benefit from having a story read to us to help us sleep. So what you're doing and what those sleep stories are doing and what meditation is doing, it's all the same thing, which is that it is taking your mind off itself. Because when you are struggling to sleep or you've woken up in the middle of the night, what you don't want to be doing is focusing on either what did I do today? What did I not do today? What did I do poorly? Oh my goodness, what have I still got to do tomorrow? And at that point, things are just a disaster. You're wide awake. What all of the things that we've just discussed do is they take your mind off itself. And at that point, then you start to allow sleep to come back naturally. That's why one of the other suggestions is take yourself for a mental walk. If you just close your eyes and you think about a walk that you take frequently, let's say it's a walk with the dog, and you think about it in high fidelity detail. So I close my eyes, I go out the door, I take a left down the steps, then I'm going to go up the street, I take the first left, past that pine tree. That's the level of detail. If you just walk yourself on that mental walk, sure enough, people fall asleep in about 50% less time, half the time it takes. If none of these things are working for you, if meditation is not working for you, if going on a mental walk is not working for you, this is the final suggestion I have. If you're lying there awake, firstly, by the way, if you're struggling with sleep, remove all clock faces from your bedroom. It's one of the best pieces of advice I can give you. Knowing what time of night it is no favor. So knowing now that it's 3:23 a.m. in the morning and I'm still struggling to fall asleep, and then I look back at the clock and it's now 4:03 a.m. and I've still been awake, and now it's 4:27 and I've got to wake up at 6:30 a.m. Knowing that has no utility for you. Remove all clock faces from your bedroom. It is a gift. But coming back to the final suggestion, if you don't want to get out of bed, if you don't want to listen to a podcast, the final thing I would say is just accept and say, look, it's okay. Tonight is not my night. It is not the worst thing in the world. And instead of trying to sleep, all I'm going to do here is lie in bed and I'm just going to rest. Because wouldn't it be lovely if someone came to you in the middle of your work day, you're just stressed, and someone said, by the way, just come into this room, there's a bed here, just lie down and just rest for an hour. Wouldn't it be lovely? Just have a good old rest for an hour. Just rest there. And I would say that if you can't sleep, just lie in bed, stop worrying about sleep and not being able to get it. Stop worrying about the next day. Just lie in there and enjoy a nice, good old rest. And by the way, usually what happens is that after you start thinking, okay, I'm going to rest, the next thing you remember is the alarm clock going off at 6:30 because finally you stop trying and sleep happens. So